unemployable miscreants on social media. Every time Tinubu is being defended on social media, 80% of those who are doing so are hanging inside this kind of rooms. They are this kind of picture you have on your screen. So sometimes when those of you who have real businesses, those of you who have real jobs, when you are complaining about the failure of government and you are so pained and angry, when you see these ones these are the kind of people who will tell you, Nigeria will favor me, Tinubu's government will favor my family. These are the rogues who are always the beggars on social media. They will be typing amen when politicians are using God to cover their failure. I'm coming back to that picture. If you see them in the comment section, don't waste your time. They are mostly on Facebook, okay? Those kind of people, they are mostly on Facebook, suffering and smiling, sufferhead, okay? Sometimes you call them the Dabi Moshedas, okay? They are people who feels like, whatever misfortune that is upon them, everybody deserves the same. And if the government is doing exactly that, why do you have to complain? Why don't you want to be poor? So let that picture remain in that your own subconscious mind. Every time you are replying some lunatics on social media, remember that they are the lowest of the low, okay? And you shouldn't, if you don't want to, if you don't want to kind of find yourself in that state of a mental problem, right? Do not engage them. And that is what they say. Do not engage people like that who are already in the ruffle. They are already the sewage dwellers. Courtesy, the government and criminals that they would love to defend all the time. Now, if you therefore try to go and explain to them, like, let me explain to you, I'm trying to explain, don't try to, okay? They will drag you to their level and they will beat you with experience because they have been there. Sewage dwellers, Lagos Abobakus, Oshogbo Alimajiris, the unbooted slaves, sophisticated morons, the Buhari Danes, Buhari Deterrins, the Buhari Denotus, the Buhari Dijatus, the Buhari Shukus, the Ungo Ziaris, You have those ones who are also the crumb eaters, crumb chasers, ass lickers, all risers. Then they also have uncles and aunties abroad. So when you come across these people, especially those ones who are mostly trying to hide behind political correctness, things like, unity beggars, people who always kind of try to gaslight you in their own defense of the criminals who have no idea how to get you out of the mess that Nigeria is in, right? The Nigeria naira further crashes, and the strategy of Tinubu will further impoverish many of you. It will destroy your businesses. And there is no amount of, it will not be me in Jesus' name will save you. We are talking about economic saboteurs who have no idea or enough of the consequences of what they are pushing. The entire system has been captured. And all of you watching me right now, you will be the living witnesses when the whole thing begins to unfold. It is no longer about wishes. Remember what they say about wishes? They say if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. You know what I mean? But wishes are not horses. Good governance are not wishes, okay? I mean, responsible government and responsive government is not by wishes. It's not by prayers. Do you understand? Because it is by what? It is by doing, by acting. That is why I did say sometimes ago, I said, unity is not just a word. You don't just talk about patriotism, unity, and all those things in the face of injustice, inequality, impunity, state-sponsored, institutionalized impunity. You don't turn around and begin to talk about unity in the face of all of this, right? Now that we have kind of have the idea, the framework of their strategy. The framework of their strategy is to push the rest of you who are still struggling and trying to stay afloat to further dip you in poverty and misery. And you don't need to believe me. You will be a testimony to that. You know what they say generally? May Nigeria not happen to me. May Nigeria not happen to you. A lot of you have no idea that Nigeria happens to you every day. Every day. And you see these rogues, the road to Damascus, as some will say, the road to Armageddon, the road that is constructed through the financial rascality, irresponsibility, corruption, and mismanagement of APC, Egbekegbe, the Alakori People's Congress. They charted this lane of this poverty from the start. And the rascality that led to that is exactly what Tinubu is replicating. And there is no amount of PR. Listen to me. There is no amount of PR that is going to add value to that your naira in that your pocket when nothing is being done, because nothing will be done. You know why? For these guys, they know about these problems, of course, right? But to them, they created the problems for the purpose of benefiting from it. So expecting them to fix it is pretty much like expecting the rock to suddenly produce an ocean of water, a rock. So Nigeria Naira was, they said they were floating it, floated Nigeria Naira, which then gave it up for slaughtering by anyone who could. The investment in the real sector, the economy, the real investment in the sectors that could actually keep jobs, okay, and keep the economy running, they are not investing in them. They are opening a special door all the time in a way to what? To take away the resources that they actually told you was scarce. So your Naira has crossed the line, and there is no amount of lies, propaganda, that is going to save the Naira, because they are doing exactly the same thing that crashed it in the first place. Lying, hiding the truth. But you can't hide the truth when it comes to the economy, okay? They were lying about inflation. They were lying about their, what do you call it? They are lying about employment. They are lying almost about everything, which simply puts that they have no intention of what? Of fixing any problem. And you remember when Kolu said back then during their campaign, now statistics will go shop. Remember that time?
I think na statistic we go chop. I think na statistic we go chop.
Chop that statistics, okay? Because the statistics simply means that the value of the Naira in your pocket has further been depreciated. Now let us put this into a context here, okay? In 2015, the value of a Naira, of a Naira to a dollar, right, was at 145 Naira if you go through the central bank, and the dollars was available for everyone, right? Then the black market, which is the BDC, the Bureau de Change, right? You will exchange a dollar for 190 Naira to a dollar in 2015. Now you see this yardstick or this exchange rate and the availability of that dollars is what those who are running your economy, real businessmen, do, because Nigeria economy is import dependent, which means more than 90% of Nigeria economy exists based on importation of almost everything, including importation of refined crude oil products. So for you to continue to manage whatever the what they call the market force, the demand and supply, and the availability of all those things, and ensuring that those things are available, if you continue to build your economy based on importation. So when people bring things into Nigeria, when they bring in large vessels, cargo planes, and all those containers to Nigeria, they all leave Nigeria empty-handed, which means Nigeria is always ready to hand over huge chunk of forex to different countries in order to have all their finished goods brought to Nigeria. So this was where the problem started. When Buhari and gang came, the Central Bank of Nigeria could no longer give those dollars to the business people anymore because the politicians needed the dollars. Then at the same time, under this same Buhari, they opened a back channel called round tripping. Round tripping then simply means the banks could no longer get adequate forex supply from the Central Bank of Nigeria. They could only go through people who are now the middlemen, taking the dollars from the central bank and then adding their own interest before they give them to the business people. And within the space of 8 years, Nigeria naira lost over 800% of its value. 800%. But when they want to say, they will say, oh, it's only a quarter of its a quarter of its value that it lost. You see, while they were doing all of that, normally, remember I said, when people bring things to Nigeria, they almost all left empty-handed, empty cargoes. Empty. That means they are not buying anything from Nigeria, that they have to also give you back dollars, give you back their own money, okay? Or in order to buy, you go to their country, right? Before you buy things from them, you exchange your naira to their currency, mostly dollars, okay? Your naira. So they will have to buy the dollar. It has to be, it will be based on the availability and how much the person who owns the dollar want to sell it to you. So in your own business, right? Before you can trade with other people, you have to use your naira to buy their currency. But when they bring their stuff to Nigeria and they are not living with anything, they are not taking anything from Nigeria, agricultural produce, or finished stuff, so that they too can exchange their own money, bring their own money, dollars, and buy naira. That is what is called trade between countries. This is what you call trade growth. Nigeria is a big for nothing country that these criminals have made Nigeria. It has become the dumping ground for all type of businesses from all over the world, including toxic waste deals. Go and dump it in Nigeria. But you won't take anything back. So after creating this back-end round tripping, whereby to access the dollar became the first battle you have to fight. And at the same time, between the time your goods arrive and whatever it is, the balance, the exchange rate, which was so fluctuative at the time, and so many businesses actually died because of this. But guess those who actually became multi-billionaires? Buhari's family members, political associates, political appointees, senators, they all got their own different slots from that central bank. And from 145 naira to a dollar, it jumped straight to over 800 naira to a dollar. And all of that time, they were all talking. Buhari was talking. Emefiole was talking. The rest of them were defending. Tinubu was there. Pastor Ruga was there. The rest of them were kind of bullying Nigerians that they were those who were stupid, who didn't understand the economics, the Buharinomics, which eventually impoverished over 145 million Nigerians. Also turned Nigeria to the poverty capital of the world. People are suffering and they are poor, courtesy of these guys. Because when you now hold that naira, you realize that what you could buy with 100 naira, since the value has crashed, your 100 naira has become 25 naira. So, which means if you used to buy this lip balm for 100 naira, with the economic ruin and destruction, it will now cost 400 naira. To make the matter worse, they then went on borrowing spree. The rest of Nigeria started on a sorrowing journey. And that's why we said from change, to next devil or next evil. The end goal is what you have, the bankrupted Nigeria of today. The source of the only single source that is constant and regular to give Nigeria forex, Nigeria crude oil, that also came under the attack of these criminals. For straight 8 years, Nigeria was losing over 21 million barrels of crude oil to oil thieves. That is not all. The leftover by the thieves for the rest of Nigeria, the Buhari's government, they created another bottomless hole of corruption called subsidy. Suddenly, the country that was using 13 million liters of petrol every day, based on the vehicles available and the machineries available in the country, under these rogues, that same country that was paying 200 billion naira on subsidy, suddenly started paying 4 trillion naira. Trillion, you know, how many? Do you know how many 200 billion you are going to see in 1 trillion? 5. Now, if you now have 5 times 4, 20, which means you have suddenly these criminals. The petrol usage in Nigeria suddenly jumped from 13 million liters a day to over 100 million liters a day. Nobody knows who they were paying the money to. Trillions and trillions and trillions were paid, which is billions and billions and billions of dollars were paid into the hands of faceless criminals who were actually your politicians who have faces. That was the journey that brought Nigeria here. They started borrowing. Nigeria could borrow anything. In fact, Nigeria has not reached the ceiling of the borrowing. They continue to tell the people that, they were working on refineries. What is taking the most of Nigeria money was the subsidy. We are refining, we are repairing the refineries. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 solid years. When these criminals came, the Nigeria refinery, maybe that was why the subsidy payment at the time was not as ridiculous as you have it now, right? Because at the time, 200, like I said, 200 billion for 13 million cars, or should I say machineries, like I put earlier, right? So these roads, suddenly 4 trillion, 3 trillion, 2 trillion, and the source of the money from the crude sale suddenly was no longer available, and at the same time it was no longer a problem. The country that was in shock when they were told that 20 billion US dollars was missing because NNPC didn't remit money into the central bank account as it should under Sanusi. Remember, that was during the Goodluck Egbere Jolantan's time. Suddenly they didn't bother anymore because they didn't even have a clue how much crude oil is Nigeria producing, how much is being sold, and how much is being collected. Nobody even had a clue anymore. For 8 solid years, they bankrupted Nigeria. And here is Kolu. Emefiole is in jail. Buhari is walking free, receiving visitors, and they are calling him a distinguished man or whatever in their circle. Bawa of EFCC is in jail right now. Gandola, the man caught on tape, pocketing dollars in his Babariga, is the chairman of the ruling party in Nigeria with police protection, security guard, and authority as well. And that is Nigeria. So today, after 3 months or nearly 4 months of Tinubu, the Jaga Wiri, Jaga Banditi, the Jaga Addict, Mr. Strategy, ladies and gentlemen, the Nigeria Naira has taken further hit. And this time around, it is for the worse. Yes, officially, this is already in place for the past 2 days, but people are beginning to kind of now see it officially that to exchange the naira to a dollar, then you will need 1,010 naira, 1,011 naira for just single dollar. Okay, so it is also giving the vibe of the plot that we had a while back, that Tinubu and his gang, their plan is to introduce new nairas. You see, these new nairas, by the time things get so bad and worse, the inflation is now choking all of you. They can't hide it anymore. You can't pretend about it anymore, right? So you begin to have 5,000 naira notes, 10,000 naira notes, 20,000 naira notes, 50,000 naira notes. And the long plan is actually to decimate Nigeria naira, which is something like this, okay? 1,000 naira will become maybe 100 naira or 10 naira. It's not going to change value. It's still the same one, but they will print new money. So you won't have, instead of having 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and 50,000 naira notes, paper notes. So they will just cut all the zero, like Ghana did. Ghana is bankrupt now. Okay? I mean, even as bankrupt as Ghana is, a lot of you will still be like, Ghana is better than Nigeria and the rest. But again, economically, I